Oh. Whew. What a nightmare. Man, sometimes I have the weirdest dreams. Ooh. So I know what you're thinking, and it's okay. I live in Texas. But my brother and I went shooting at the range last weekend and policed a little brass. So I've got these 50 cal shells, and I've done this before, but I've never done a video on it, where I cast them in epoxy resin in a skull mold. So that's what we're gonna do today. Should be a pretty quick video, but I'll take you through my process. For this video, I am gonna be using the pressure pot behind me. I'll link it down below. It's not a necessity, it just helps with the air bubbles. This pressure pot is from California Air Tools. You can pick up something cheaper from like Harbor Freight, but when it comes to air compression and pressure pots and things that I don't know a whole lot about, I spent the extra money on a more well-known name brand to kind of mitigate any sort of issues I may have. Thing to note is I did pour silicone in the bottom of this pressure pot. That is to give me a level surface and epoxy won't stick to silicone. Now I'm gonna point you down there, and if you see, I did, I think 12 ounces of silicone and it wasn't enough. So make sure you measure the bottom. I can still put my molds over here, but as you can see, I didn't cover the entire bottom. It's still pretty flat. I'll always use some mold release. It's just gonna help these come off easier. Now I'm gonna dump about half my shells in. I'm gonna do this before I mix up my silicone, just so this is ready. And then I kind of shake them down, so there's not gonna be a whole lot of movement. And that's about half. Always remember to glove up, mother truckers! For this, we're gonna be using pourable plastic because I have it. I'll link to this in the description, as well as Total Boat. Total Boat, you can get 5% off your first order if you order through them. Honestly, I'm not sure what the price difference is, but if you want to check out either product, they're both awesome. Neither one is sponsoring this or any of that business. Each one of these holes about 10 ounces. I'm gonna mix up 24 ounces just to make sure that I have enough to top everything off. I always just have a pour over mold handy to pour into if I have any extra. Okay, and it's a 2-to-1 mix. So we're gonna go 16 ounces and then 8 ounces of curing agent. Mix like nobody's watching. All right, so once we give that the old stirry stir, go ahead and pour, and I want to pour about half of this in there in each one because it becomes difficult to lift these into the pressure pot if they're full. My little chopstick here, and just kind of want to knock these around a little bit, make sure that most of the shells get epoxy in them. I'm mixing around. Also, they kind of compact a little bit once you kind of stir them together. Okay, so the molds are kind of squishy. So when we lift them up and put them in there, I'm just gonna set them flat inside there. Got them in there towards the front a little bit. Add some more shells. And I'm probably gonna get in the way of my own filming here, but you're gonna fill this the rest of the way up. That guy in there. Let them sit for a minute. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. I don't know if you can see, there's just a little tiny lip here, so I'm just gonna put a little bit more epoxy in there. All right, lid goes on the pressure pot. I was moved over so I can read this. Line it up. I've always been told to screw 2 in, then screw the other 2, and go back and forth until you're hand tight. You don't have to go crazy. I have my air compressor under the bench. Once we hit about 40, we're gonna go ahead and shut that off. Lock this in, pop that off. Let it sit, let it percolate. It'd be percolating for about 24 hours.
The next morning.
Okay, so before I jump on the treadmill, I'm just gonna depressurize the pressure pot. So I'm just gonna take this guy. and just let that slowly exhaust. Once I get off the treadmill, we'll come back in here and check it out. All right, that run is done. I actually went to lunch too. So this is fully depressurized now. So we're just gonna take the top off and check out what we got. And this one even like kind of went in a little bit. So that probably means that there was some air that needed to like get sucked into here. Putting this on the belt sander will take that right down, no problem. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hello, ladies. How we doing? Why are we not focusing on these? Hello, ladies. Woo! Okay, so here we are back up in the office. I went ahead and wiped them down a little bit so they look a little bit better. But check that out. Ooh-wee. Bullet head right there. So this one, let's see, this one, I kind of like the way this one turned out a little bit better. Like more of the ends of the casings are kind of right here at the cerebral area, but they both look pretty cool. Check that out. And I'm kind of doing them like this because since they're clear, they don't do real good with photography, but they do pretty good when we're looking at them like this. Anyway, guys, so that is how you do an epoxy resin skull with bullet casings. So these two skulls are gonna be on my Etsy webpage. I will link that down below. First come, first serve on those guys because I don't have an endless supply of shell casings and I really don't go shooting that much. If you have shell casings you would like to donate to the cause, please email me at my email address down below and maybe we can work something out. And until next time, I'm out of here. Whoop!